Hello kids in math land. This is 6th grade math class, and today is Thursday, January 6th. We're going to start the class off by grading our homework from yesterday. And kids, I want you to get this worksheet out, and we're going to make sure you understand, because some of you weren't here yesterday, how to do all the steps. So if you don't have your paper, a couple of you lost your worksheet, come on over, get a blank worksheet over here, and write this stuff down so you know how to do this. We have a quiz tomorrow. I expect everyone to get a good grade, an A or a B on the quiz tomorrow, all right? I wrote it this morning. I think it's a pretty good, easy quiz. Number 3, you divide both sides by 13. You show that. That's worth a point, because these problems are worth 3 points on your quiz tomorrow. That's a point. Then the answer, W equals 3. 39 divided by 13 is 3. That's worth a point. And your check step, you replace the value W, or the variable W, with the value 3. Does 13 times 3 equal 39? Yes, it does. So everyone understands what's expected, right? Good. Number 4. Divide by 11. 5 equals X. Does 55 equal 11 times 5? Yes, it does. Number 5. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. V equals 14. Does 3 times 14 equal 42? Yes, it does. In this problem, divide by 12, divide by 12, 8 equals F. Does 96 equal 12 times 8? Yes, it does. Divide by, what's with the variable? 14, 14, U equals 5. Does 14 times 5 equal 70? Yes, it does. Divide by 3, divide by 3, C equals 1. Does 3 times 1 equal 3? Now, I know you know a lot of these are just really that easy, but those are the answers that you have there for that. Number 9, divide by 15, divide by 15, S equals 8. 120 divided by 15 is 8. 15 times 8 equals 120. Okay? Any questions? Now, we did these problems yesterday. For this one, if you kept it as a fraction, it's okay. You could keep it as 5 over 35 and simplify it to 1/7, all right? You can watch yesterday's video. Those of you that weren't here, did you watch yesterday's video? Did you watch it?
I was stuck in bed.
Oh, well, you can go watch it this evening or later today. Now let's go on to the problems where we have some decimals. This is a little more challenging. Divide by 0.6. Divide by 0.6. 72 divided by 0.6. Move it 1, move it 1. That will equal 120. So 120 equals R. Does 72 equal 120 times 0.6? Yes, it does. It does. Okay. See how I showed my check step vertically this time. In this problem, you divide by 0.8, divide by 0.8. Now, I have to do 1 and 1200ths divided by 0.8. Move it 1, move it 1. 8 goes into 11 one time. 8. Subtract. Bring down. 8 goes into 32 4 times. So my answer, B equals 1 4/10. Now I couldn't line up my equal sign because I was showing the division work. Do you all understand how to divide with decimals? Good. Now my check step. I have to take 0.8 times 1 4/10. 1 4/10 times 0.8. Put down a 2, carry a 3, 8. How many numbers are behind the decimal point? 2, and I get 1 and 1. This ink pen isn't really that dark. And that's the correct answer, so that's the check step. On this one, divide by 2 3/10, divide by 2 3/10. Even if you're challenged with doing decimal division, if you show that step, you get credit. Alex, I need you to lift your head up and write this stuff down since you didn't bring it. So the 7 13/100 goes in the box and 2 3/10 goes outside. Move it 1, move it 1. It will go into that 3 times. That is 69. Subtract. Bring down. Oh, 3.1. So here, G equals 3 1/10. Now on my check step, I'm going to take 2.3 times 3.1. 2 3/10 times 3 1/10. Place value 0.96. Add them together, and I get this. 2 numbers behind the decimal point? Yes, it does. Last decimal problem. There's only one decimal problem, I think, really on the quiz tomorrow. So you have 40 goes in the box, 1 6/10 outside, move it 1, move it 1. 16 will go into 40, 3, carry a 1, nope, 2 times. That's 32. Subtract, bring down. It'll go into it 5 times. So the answer is 25. 25 equals M. Now, does 25 times 1.6, carry 3, 12, 15, 0, does that equal 40? Yes, it does. I've got the check step. Any questions on how to do those problems? You see how to get the 3 points. The work, the answer, the check, correct? Great. Now let's look at our problem here. It says the Russian icebreaker can move forward through 2.3 meter thick ice at a speed of 5.5 kilometers per hour. That is about ice as thick as this room, kids. Ice this thick as from the floor to the ceiling. That's how thick this, an icebreaker is a certain type of ship that's designed to go through ice. At 5.5 kilometers per hour. Write and solve a multiplication equation to find the number of hours it will take to travel 82.5 kilometers. Okay, so 5, I'm going to just, X is define the variable. X equals hours. Okay, because the question is to find the hours. We know kilometers, so 5.5 times X equals 82.5. That is your multiplication equation, kids. Right now on your papers, everyone. Does everyone have X or something equals hours? You defined your variable. Does everyone have a multiplication equation now? Now we solve it. Divide both sides by 5.5. Okay? And X will equal 82.5 divided by 5.5. Move it 1, move it 1. What goes into that once? Subtract, bring it down. 5 times 5 is 25, carry a 2. So x equals 15 hours. Any questions? We don't have to do a check step. Do you see how to do that problem? Did you write this down, Addison? Do you have paper? Where is it written down at? I know you have to write it down, Addison. There's some paper here you can come and get, okay? Now let's go on to the next page. It says we've got this fundraising going on for $20 each. Miss Hawkins promised a party to whichever of her English classes sold the most calendars over the course of 4 weeks. Use the table to answer the questions. Okay, write and solve an equation to show the average number of calendars her third period class sold per week during the 4-week challenge. Okay, so X, I'm going to use C equals calendars. Okay? Define the variable. Now I have to write an equation. Okay, and how much do they cost? $20 each. Number of calendars sold? 89. So, on this problem, a school is raising money by selling calendars for $20 each. Promised a party to whichever of her English classes sold the most calendars over the course of 4 weeks. This doesn't really quite, let's see, write and solve an equation to show the average number of calendars her third period class, sold per week. Okay, so if she sold 89 in 4 weeks, how many did she sell in a week? So it's going to be 4 times C equals 89, right? So that's my equation. Divide by 4, and her third period class sold 22 and a fourth calendars. Okay, we had a remainder of 4. 89 over 4. 89 over 4 equals, how many 4s are in 89? 22, and there's 1 left over. So I could write it like that. Or you could say 22.25. Both answers would be correct, okay, kids? Now, in number 19, how many calendars did the first and second period class sell on average per week? Okay, for period 1, I'm going to use, we'll use A equals calendars for period 1. And for period 2, I'm going to use B equals calendars for period 2. All right, you could use something different, but I've defined my variables. So 4 times A equals 60. Divide both sides by 4. A equals 15. For period B, or 2, we're using B. 4 times B equals 123. Divide by 4. B equals 30, and you have 3/4 left over, or you could say 30.75. Okay, then we've solved for each one of those. In this number 20, what was the average number of calendars sold in a week by all of her classes? Here, we're going to just X equals calendars, and we add them all together. Oh, in number 19, did any of you add first and second together and then divide it by 4? Okay, I didn't know if any of you did. Somebody might have interpreted it that way. I see how it could be done that way. So in number 20, let's add these all together. 30 3 and 9 is 12. And 12 plus 6 is 18. Carry a 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. 17, 18, 19, carry a 1, so 398. Is that the total you got? Did anyone else get 398? Good. So you're going to have 4 times x equals 398. Okay, let me just rewrite that over here. 4x equals 398. Divide by 4, divide by 4, and x equals 4 goes into that 9 times. So 398 divided by 4, that's a 36. Subtract, bring down, 4 goes into that 9 times, and we have 2 left over. So you would have 99 and 2/4, which equals 99 and a half, or what would the decimal be for a half? 99 point what? 0.5. Okay, any questions? Did everyone get this information written down? Well, I know because I'm recording. If you need to go back, just watch my video, okay? Because I want to make sure we have plenty of time to work on homework, so you don't have to, or classwork, so it doesn't turn into homework. Any questions? Okay. All right, kids. So our lesson is lesson 5 on page 561, but we're going to go right on to the next page, 562. We're not going to do the real world link today. We're going to go on to the next page. So this is lesson 5. Solve and write division equations. These are our one-step equations. We're going to move on to page 562. The fancy words for this. In the situation on the previous page, they had an equation A divided by 4 equals 5, where A represents the monthly allowance, means the monthly allowance divided by 4 equals 5. Well, since multiplication and division are inverse operations, they undo each other. You will multiply to undo a division problem. Okay, so let's look at example number 1. Let's write this over to the side, everyone. A divided by 3 equals 7. Now, kids, it already said, this says A divided by 3. Everyone knows how to read that now? I can remember back when you were young 6th graders, you didn't know that that meant to divide, but now you do. And what will undo division, class? Multiplication. Now this is the way you show multiplication as big kids. In algebra, we are going to use parentheses. You could use a dot, but I'm going to use parentheses, okay? And we're going to multiply both sides by a 3. Did you see that? Why? Because that cancels out that 3. Bring down an equal sign. A equals 7 times 3 is 21. Now, what does the check step look like? You replace A with 21. Is 21 divided by 3 equal 7? Yes, it does. Isn't today's lesson easier than yesterday's? I'd much rather multiply than divide. And when you're undoing a division, you multiply. This is so easy. All right. Now, here it shows what I just did there. Now, if they had, in this problem, this is how you did a model. If they wanted you to do a model, well, they know this is the whole amount. And this whole amount, A, is cut up into 3 pieces. And it means each one of those pieces is 7. That's how you would draw a model of this. Now, we're not going to draw models today. We're just going to solve equations. All right, let's go down here for letter A. In problem A, it's x divided by 8 equals 9. What will undo dividing by 8, kids? That's right. So you can do the dot times 8 with the dot like this, but you have to do it on both sides, or you can do the parenthesis. Either one I'll count right, okay? Just don't use an x because x is a variable. Cancel. X equals, what's 9 times 8? 72. Oh, check your answer. Is 72 divided by 8 9? Yes, it is. Okay, let's do letter B above it. Y divided by 4 equals 8. What will undo dividing both sides by 4? Very good. Multiply both sides by 4. Cancel. Y equals 32. Check step. Does 32 divided by 4 equal 8? Yes, it does. Any questions? All right, let's do letter C. What will undo dividing by 5? Okay, let's just squeeze it in here with the 5. Multiply by 5. Multiply by 5. Cancel. What does M equal? 45. And circle it. We have to do the check. Is 45 divided by 5 equal to 9? Yes, it is. And on this one here, we have to get B all by itself. What will undo dividing by 2? All right, multiply both sides by 2. And 2 times 30 is 60. 60 equals B. Check step. Does 30 equal 60 divided by 2? Why, yes, it does. Thumbs up. Everyone cool with how to do these problems? It's pretty easy. Good. Let's go to the next page. Oh, another fancy word for what we were doing. The multiplication property of equality states, if you multiply each side of an equation by the same non-zero number, the two sides remain equal. Yes, they do. And here they show it with the parenthesis thing like I do. And once again, that is called the multiplication property of equality. Now let's look at a word problem number 2. The weight of an object on the moon is 1/6 that of its weight on Earth. If an object weighs 35 pounds on the moon, write and solve a division equation to find its weight on Earth. Okay, so here they have a model. The weight of object on Earth divided by 6 equals the weight on the moon. So, define your variable. W represents the weight of the object on Earth. So W is Earth here. And we cut it up into 6 pieces because on the moon you only weigh 1/6 of the amount. So if on the moon you weigh 35 pounds, how much do you weigh on Earth? W divided by 6 equals 35. So to solve, you multiply both sides by 6, and on Earth you would weigh 210 pounds. So if you weighed 35 pounds on the moon, you would weigh 210 pounds on Earth. Let's go to letter E. Nathan picked a total of 60 apples in 1/3 an hour. Write and solve a division equation to find how many apples Nathan could pick in 1 hour. Okay, so in this problem, kids, you know how 1/3 times x is the same thing as x over 3. Do you remember how we talked about that? 1/3 of x is the same thing as x divided by 3. Do you see what they did there? Okay, I find this sometimes to be confusing because you want to write down 1/3 in front of your x, but when you have like 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, you just put x over the denominator for those problems. Okay, so here we have x divided by 3 equals 60. Okay, so how many, if he picks 60 apples in 1/3 of an hour, how much will he pick in a full hour? That's our equation. X equals, I should define my variable, X equals apples. So in 1 hour, multiply by 3, multiply by 3, he can pick how many apples? What's 60 times 3? 180 apples. Okay? Now, let's go on to the next page. Number 3. Carla is buying ribbon for costumes. She wants to divide the ribbon into 8.5-inch pieces for 16 costumes. Write and solve a division problem equation to find the length of the ribbon. Okay, R divided by 8.5 equals 16. Okay, R equals ribbon. So she defined her variable, R equals ribbon. Okay, she defined the variable, she wrote an equation, she did her step, and she gets her answer of 136 inches. Okay, now let's do the same thing for F. We're going to define a variable. So let's see, Allison is baking a pie. She wants 4.5 strawberries in each serving for 8 people. Write and solve a division equation to find how many strawberries Allison will need. Okay, so let's go over here above D. I'm going to define my variable as S equals what? Strawberries. So does everyone, you don't have to use S, you could use X, but did everyone define their variable? Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is write our equation. And our equation for this is going to be S divided by 4.5 equals 8. So my equation, S divided by 4.5 equals 8, because it said write and solve a division equation. That's a division equation, isn't it? Everyone have that? Now, what do I do to solve my equation? What will undo dividing by 4.5? Multiplying. So, I'm just going to show my step. Multiply by 4.5, multiply by 4.5, and S equals 8 times 4.5. Okay, 4.5 times 8, 0, carry a 4, 36. She needs 36 strawberries, right? 36, I'm just going to put berries. Any questions? Okay, now let's do the guided practice. I'm going to walk around the room to make sure everyone was awake and did their work, and then I'll give you the answers to the guided practice. All right, so here's the answer for 1, 2, 3, and we're ready to do the check step for number 3. Is 182 divided by 13 the same thing as 14? Yes, it is. Let's look at number 4. Carrie and Taya are sharing a pack of stickers. Each girl gets 11 stickers. Write and solve a division equation to find how many total stickers there are. Okay, I'm going to define my variable as X equals stickers. And my equation here will be X divided by 11 equals 2. So X divided by 11 equals 2. Each girl gets 11 stickers. So to figure out how many stickers there are altogether, you multiply both sides by 11, and the answer is X equals a total of 22 stickers. Okay, this one, it's probably just easy. How many of you wanted to do that one in your head? You knew the answer was 22 stickers. Yeah, I'll be honest, to me, that one 22 just popped in my head. It was It's like, okay, now I got to write an equation. It's like, oh, sometimes it's harder to write an equation than to do the problem. But after you get the answer, if it wants you to write an equation, write an equation. Otherwise, I can't give you all your points. Chen is buying a ham. He wants to divide it into 6.5 ounce servings for 12 people. Write and solve a division equation to find what size of ham Chen needs. Okay, I'm going to define my variable h equals ham. Okay, I have to write a division equation. So something ham divided by something equals 12 people. Okay, how much does each person get? 6.5. That's my equation. That's my division equation. H divided by 6.5 equals 12. Now to solve it, I multiply 6.5 times both sides of the equation. So that cancels that out, and you end up with H equals, well, 12 times 6.5. Carry a 1, place value 0, 0, 8. He needs 78 ounces. The answer is 78 ounces, OZ, of ham. Any questions on that, kids? It is 78, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Now, instead of having you do the problems in the book, I have a worksheet that we're going to do. It's math. It's the homework practice that goes along with your book worksheet, but I just made some adjustments on it. Let me pass this out to you, and you can get going on. So, for problem number 1, what we'll do, undo dividing 7. Multiply both sides by 7. 35 equals R. Check step. Does 5 equal 35 divided by 7? Yes, it does. Any questions on what to do? That is what you do on these. Down here we do have some decimals. On the back we have a few decimals. These, I want to see if you can figure out how to do them. I'm going to go over these tomorrow. You don't have to do the bottom ones, okay? These bottom 3 are extra special. We'll go over them tomorrow. Some of you might figure it out. But you need to at least define the variable and attempt to write an equation for each problem, okay? On the word problems. Let's get going. You may work with a partner, but you have to work. Go.
No.